You're about to see a coaching conversation with Deb, and it's a conversation where I work with past, present, and future, and it's more of a coaching than a therapy conversation. Um, we're actually coming in two-thirds of the way into the session, and what Debs was opening up at the beginning was that she had lost her job a few years ago. She had an executive, she had a high executive position in a corporate company. She lost her job. She then discovered she had cancer, and then COVID hit. And she's now thankfully clear of cancer, but she's suffering from a lack of confidence that she never had suffered from in the past. She had never doubted herself in the past. So, and she's starting her own business, and she's a bit perplexed as to why she's feeling so stuck. So, that is her present. So, as we opened up the focusing conversation in an experiential way, going to the feeling sense of what was coming up for her, uh, what what emerged was she realized that there was an enactment with her boss who fired her that replicated the one she had with her father. And this had resulted in a freeze response for her. Uh, Now that she's experientially uncovered that dynamic of the past that was acting in her present and was acting in her current present because she's feeling so unconfident and stuck, uh, in the session she felt a forward shift which lifted the shame she'd been experiencing about losing her job because now it made sense to her. And with that sense, it brought a relief and a hope. So, as I said, we're joining two-thirds of the way in. We're just in the last third of the session, and we're coming to a point where I do a big reflection, or I do a slightly lengthy reflection, where I'm reflecting what has come so far. And that's at the point that we come in to the session where we see where we get to work with how this then implies very organically and in a very grounded way into the future and opens up the way for her to move forward, as I say, in a very embodied way. So I hope you find this helpful.
Right. So it's like really, it's like, oh yeah, that's how it was.
Mhm.
I see now how all that went together.
Mhm.
That just on a like a deep level, I was just frozen.
Mhm.
Right. This was my blind spot, and of course I felt frozen. Right. That would make sense
Mhm.
given like what I was used to and what I was brought up with and what's in my system.
Mhm.
Right? So in that ring of truth with seeing all of that, like how's that kind of what's the experience of, oh yeah, I've been kind of putting the pieces together, and the more that we talk about it, I'm kind of like really seeing how it all comes together,
Mhm.
how that happened. I'm understanding how frozen I was and why I didn't move and do the things I
Mhm.
should.
Yeah, like I can see it now,
Well,
but I guess it's there's still the question of the where'd I go? How do I get myself back?
mm, so Deb, do you also feel like when you say how do I get myself back,
Mhm.
so it's not just being sick and COVID, how do you get yourself back from that experience?
Mhm.
Yeah, yeah. So let's just hold that question, right? So
Mhm.
these things come in steps. So
Mhm.
the first few steps of, oh, I understand now.
Right. Where the genesis of
I
it. Mhm.
see, right. Okay, you're putting all the pieces together, not just in an intellectual way, but in a felt
Mhm.
way. Um, so as we hold that, how are we going to get you back?
Mm-hmm.
Right? What a great question. How are we going to get you back? Let's keep that company for a minute.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see what comes from the whole of you, your thinking
Mm-hmm.
self and your feeling self. Right? This is a step-by-step thing.
Mm-hmm.
What's the next bit about getting yourself back?
Mm. Well, making that connection, making those, pulling the thread on that, I guess I feel a little bit of relief
Mm, mm-mm,
because, what happened to me when I was a kid is not my fault.
mm,
It just happened to me and I
mm,
just never realized whereas prior to this, I was taking all the responsibility for allowing myself to go into that bad situation, allowing that situation to play out how it did,
right,
which is a big part of me feeling guilty or bad about myself.
right,
Now, how am I going to be different? That I don't know.
right. So that's another important piece, Deb. So, I mean, part of it is, oh, I can understand now. It was a mystery to me, and it
Mm-hmm.
felt like so. I mean, when we do things and they're a mystery, then it's like, oh my God, that's going to happen again. I don't know
Mm-hmm.
myself. Like, how could
Right.
I
It
do
could happen
that?
at any time. Mm-hmm.
It can, I've got this. What is that, right? So it's like, oh, thank God, it's not a mystery anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a sadness, there's a bit of a grieving to do with that because you're seeing your dad differently, and you're seeing as much as you love your dad, also how like not there he was in a lot of ways,
Mm-hmm.
and still isn't, So there's like a shift to go on about you and your dad there, but it makes sense, right? And it makes sense how you were. So there's a relief in that, and then with the getting yourself back, it's like, oh well, one thing is that guilt. I can take that guilt off of me because you had all the confusion and then you had a big glob of guilt on the top,
Mm-hmm.
right? So it's like, oh, I can take that guilt off.
Mm-hmm.
It's not that I'm crazy or it's not that I'm stupid. I'm not whatever,
Right.
whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Given that was my really early experience and I was triggered and got in a
Mm-hmm.
frozen state, right? I can take the guilt off.
Mm-hmm.
So let's check in with you again. Now you understand it, and now we've taken the guilt off.
Mm-hmm.
How is that feeling?
Well, I feel a twinge of hopefulness
Mm,
that that I don't have to be this, that I can be different.
mm, 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 mm.
And, I feel there's a little freedom in that,
Yeah,
feeling freer.
yeah, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. That
Yeah.
feels great. Yeah, I feel that
Mm-hmm.
too. Right.
And,
Mm-hmm.
but I still have a big question mark about that,
Mm-mm.
regaining the confidence or that feeling of myself. And
Mm-mm.
maybe I just have to be a different version of that person, that person's gone,
Mm-mm. Mm-mm.
because of being ill or just time or whatever.
Okay, well, let's check that, Debs. When you say I just need to be a different version of that
Mm-hmm.
person, how does that land? Does that does that feel right or?
Well, it feels like a bit of a cop out, and it also feels like maybe that's what this is. you
What
know,
is?
maybe this is part of the growth process or the evolving process of just my life experiences.
Mm-mm.
And so it can't be the same or shouldn't be,
Mm-mm.
but I could be a better version.
Mm. Mm-mm. So there's part of that that feels a cop out, and that cop out would be if you did it maybe in a superficial way. Oh, I'll just be a different version of myself,
Mm-hmm.
right? I don't know if I've got this right. And another way of taking it is, oh, of course I'm going to be a different version
Mm-hmm.
because this is an evolution.
Right, because I'm already a different person.
I'm
I mean,
already
how
a
could you
different
be the
way.
same? Mm-hmm.
Right. Yeah. Right. And that part of getting yourself back is understanding what happened, like in a deep way, which
Mm-hmm.
not just a thinking way. And then once you understand, you can lift off some of the guilt and the shame,
Mm-hmm.
and then you find yourself underneath. Right? It's like it all got tangled up and then had a stone put on top.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And this is part of the process of getting you back. So then
Mm-hmm.
some space and some hope can come. And then it's like breathing with that space and that hope to see what that brings.
Mm-hmm.
As you say, it's like a process of evolution.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And then that means you're going to emerge slightly different. And you'll get yourself back, but a little changed.
Mm-hmm.
And you'll be a different version in that
Mm-hmm.
way.
Yeah, that's right.
Right. So how does all of that resonate?
That feels good. It feels true.
Mm-mm,
Mm-hmm.
mm-mm, mm-mm. How does that feel here? It
Mm.
feels good, it feels true.
It feels soothing.
Mm, mm-mm, mm. Yeah, I can sense that too. It's
Mm-hmm.
calming. There's something
Mm-hmm.
calming and soothing. It's like, oh yeah,
Mm-hmm.
right. That makes sense.
But I tried that. I tried just putting space between it,
Mm,
losing my job. But that's been so long ago. That didn't work.
mm, mm.
So I
Right,
realized that I need to be more active in it.
right. It's the untangling that you're doing
Mm-hmm.
now.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So let's just we have just a few. We have like 5 more minutes. So
Mm-hmm.
in that calming and that soothing, let's just see what comes for you here.
Mm-hmm.
Let's just give that calming and that soothing all the space that it needs in your body, in your experience.
Mm-hmm.
Let's just let that flower.
Well, I mean, it feels very peaceful,
Mm,
but it also feels pretty far away.
mm, 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 mm. So there's a peaceful,
Mm-hmm.
right? Where do you feel the peaceful?
In here.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
There's a peaceful and it feels far away at the
Mm-hmm.
same time. What makes it so far away? What's that far awayness?
Mm. Like I can visualize it, but I know it's not real.
Mm-mm.
It has a kind of dreamy state about it that I know it's not real.
That's
It's what
interesting.
it's just like a figment of my imagination. Like I want it to be that way, but I know it isn't.
So let me check that with you because you say you feel it,
Mm-hmm.
right? So you're experiencing it,
Mm-hmm.
and yet you say you're visualizing it. and it's far away. I'm just wondering what
Yeah. Like I
you're
can
thinking.
feel a calmness because I'm looking at what I want to be the future.
Mm, mm-mm, mm. So let's just take a moment. Can you feel the connection between the calm and what you're visualizing?
Mm.
Let's just feel that connection. There's a direct connection there.
Mm-hmm. I can feel it, the warmth of it.
Yeah, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So it's off there in the future,
Mm-hmm.
and as you connect with it, you can feel the warmth of that
Mm-hmm.
connection of what's there.
Mm-hmm.
And what do you notice about the connection itself?
Mm.
The connection that's bringing the warmth.
That it's strong and it
Mm.
has a pulse or a life source, a life in it.
It does.
Mm-hmm.
It has a life. It has a life to it.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-mm, mm-mm. How is it when you tap into and realize it has a life? It's
Mm.
got its
Well, it
own
makes
life.
me feel stronger, empowered, or
Yeah.
something.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. It has
Like
its
that's
own
the
life.
where I used to be.
Yeah. Yeah.
I used to
Right.
feel that life force a lot.
Right. Right.
And I used to be able to get myself to feel it at will.
Yeah. Right. Right. And here it
Mm-hmm.
is.
Mm-hmm.
Right. You're connected to it and connected powerfully to it. Actually.
I could harness it or bring it into me.
Yeah. You know this really well.
Mm-hmm.
And now it's here. It might be off in the future, but you have a very real, alive relationship with it.
Mm-hmm.
You've reestablished
Yeah, I know it's
contact.
out there.
Right,
It's like wants to come back.
right. It
Mm-hmm.
wants to come back, and you've already made a living connection with it,
Mm-hmm.
and it's powerful, and it's already starting to
Yeah, that was
respond.
really cool, Charlotte.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. So let's just hang out with it. We've got a couple more minutes. Let's just
Mm-hmm.
hang out here.
Yeah, I feel this kind of excitement, like, okay, I'm ready to go now.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
I want to be able to take this and keep it with me for as long
yeah,
as it's going to stay with me
yeah,
because
yeah.
I feel it might be elusive.
Right. And maybe you'll lose connection with it because, we do, but it's there.
Mm-hmm.
You know it's there and it's there to be reconnected with,
Mm-hmm.
right? It's not going
Mm-hmm.
anywhere. It's about reconnecting with it.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So there's an excitement. And let's just check if there's a next something that comes here. There may not be, but already so much has come.
Mm-hmm.
Probably, you know, but let's just see if there's an excitement, there's a ready to go. Is there like something about that excitement and that ready to go, a next that comes there?
Right. Well, I think it will require some kind of release with me.
Mm-mm.
It feels like I need to let go before I can accept it again,
Mm-mm.
embrace it.
Mm-mm. Mm-mm. A
And
release, yeah, release of what's the releasing of?
like I need to release the insecurity or the disbelief.
Mm, mm-mm. Mm-mm.
Or the fear, maybe.
Mm-mm. Okay, so that's clear that there's another whole something about release of the fear,
Mm-hmm.
right? And that's highlighted by your connection to it. Like
Mm-hmm.
for you to go forward with it, it's highlighting what you need to let go of.
Mm-hmm.
So that's, again, that's almost like having a light shone on something.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Okay, Deb. So let's just take a moment here. Just see, like, is this an okay place to stop? Is there anything that needs to kind of like show itself or be bookmarked before we stop?
Yeah, I think bookmark, because I
Mm.
don't, whatever that hesitation
Mm.
is isn't gonna get acknowledged so quickly, I don't think.
Yeah, that's like another round. There's
Right,
like
right, right. I
another
need to
round to
process,
come.
which, yeah, but that was really great. Thank you.
Right,
Like
right. Yeah,
seeing,
really
knowing that
great.
it's right there
Yeah,
and that it's alive.
yeah,
That's a big part of, that's very good for me.
yeah. Alive and well, and that you're powerfully connected to.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So that's where I
Yeah.
went, over there.
Yeah.
Thank you,
All right.
Charlotte.